All right, cool. Route 104, back at it. Joined today by the one, the only, good friend of mine, someone who I've known for, I don't know what, 15 or more years now.
At least 15.
More than that, at least. Probably, pushing 20. A married man, a husband, a son, a brother, a friend, a good friend to a lot of people. He's probably got more friends than most people. I don't know.
Real friends too.
He got a lot of real friends. He's got a lot of best friends. He's that kind of guy, right? People are drawn to this man, and a lot of reasons why, which hopefully some of those we're going to get into today. So without further ado, I'd like to intro Ernest Paige. Boom, 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 boom. So with anything, with all of that, what did I miss? DJ. I miss DJ.
I mean, that's just one of the things I do. I don't know. I feel like you pretty much covered it. I try to be a good friend. I try to, give out the energy that I like to receive. So I'm glad you highlighted that because I want to be more intentional about that. I feel like for a lot of years I was just stuck in whatever I was doing in the moment. So I'm glad that people feel like they can call me their friend and rely on me. So I'm glad other people notice that because it's on purpose.
For sure. So I intentionally didn't start right with DJ BERN because you can find DJ BERN anywhere on any weekend. Got his own podcast. You want to talk to Ernest or BERN about DJing, put it on record.
Yes, sir.
On all of your favorite DSPs.
Yes, sir.
There's only two. I mean, come on. What are we? We're at Spotify and Apple. But with that, I feel like I know Ernest, I know BERN. A lot of people only know like one or the other. Would you say Ernest and BERN are the same person, or is BERN do certain qualities come out with BERN that don't come out? And you know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
What are the differences?
Oh yeah, they're definitely different people. I'm also working on not saying I listened to a different podcast. I forgot who it was, but they said if you just take your time and think about what you're about to say, you don't have to fill it in with So anyways.
Yeah, put it on the listener to speed it up to 2x speed.
Right, exactly. I've never listened to a podcast more than 1x. Anyway, completely different people. Before I started DJing, I was super shy. I couldn't look people in their eyes when I talked to them. I didn't know what to say. A lot of a lot of stuttering. I wasn't outgoing. Just being able to have small talk. And DJing and working at different call centers and doing different jobs has made me better at having conversations. So that's number one. Number two would be just being outgoing and being the life of the party. That's not who I want to be in my private life. I like small circles and intimate time with friends and family. But the DJ is, center stage, the life of the party, the voice of a good time, probably a little more outlandish with some entertainment. Also making content on social media. I never want to show that much of my life to everybody. If it wasn't for DJing, I probably wouldn't have social media at all. But DJ BERN has to use that. So completely different people from those angles, but similarities are just want people to have a good time, want people to enjoy themselves. I got into DJing to give people a release from whatever they're going through throughout the week, and hopefully I can make their day better by just playing some music. And I hope that I do that in my personal life as well, to be able to entertain or give advice or encouragement or empathy or whatever is needed. So similar and different, but probably two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like you're either gonna I mean, duh, you're either going to meet you as BERN or meet you as Ernest, right? But a lot of, what do you think happens more? Like, do more people meet you, not just know you as BERN, but like when they meet you, do more people meet you as Ernest and find out that, oh, like you're DJ BERN, you DJ, or do people that know you as BERN, you know, from going out or whatever, y'all meet officially and then they get to know you as Ernest? Like, which is more prevalent?
I would say most of the time when I'm out in public spaces, I got my DJ BERN costume on. So a lot of people meet me as BERN, whether it's
what is your DJ BERN costume?
It's just, you know, a type of attitude and energy that I try to give out as, I hate saying stuff like this because, you know, it's not how I am, but I don't want this to come off across this way. But as a public figure, you have to put on a certain positive energy and to get that reciprocated. I don't want people to think that I'm mean because I got a mean face on all the time. So yeah, when I go out, I like to smile. I dress a certain way to give off a certain type of positive vibe. And so when people meet me, not only when I'm performing, but also when I'm just in other spaces of entertainment or leisure, they say, oh, that's DJ BERN. And I think very few people outside of my 9 to 5 or meeting some of my wife's friends or something like that, meet Ernest for the first time and then figure out that I'm a DJ. So it's usually they meet DJ BERN first and then they learn more about me DJ BERN wise. And then if it does progress to be more personal, then they learn more about my personal life. How did
your wife meet you first?
Definitely as DJ BERN.
Interesting. I never asked that or thought about that.
She discovered me like most people do, just going to Orange Soda and on Instagram. I want to say the fourth Orange Soda, the one that got shut down. She tells me a story all the time of how she was outside and she's one of the people that didn't get in. And I think she followed me on Instagram and I saw we had mutual friends with Don't Fret. Big shout out to Don't Fret. And I asked her, I was like, hey, do you know this person? And she knew her through some family to not complicate things. And so I did my research like, hey, like who is this person? And then I started interacting with her through DMs, just casual conversation. And we start talking more from there. So through social media.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And what does that come up with y'all often? Like this, like doppelganger public figure versus Ernest, who I know you to be at home. Cause like she went through the process, just like a lot of people of like, oh, this is BERN, BERN, BERN. Oh, shrug emoji,
right?
Rocking a party, takes his shirt off every night or sweats a lot. You just sweat a lot more when you're DJing.
We call that running hot. So I think what happened was, well, let me back up and say, first of all, I think a lot of people have a preconceived notion about DJ BERN and who he is based on partying. And that's not me at all. Like outside of DJing, I like to sit at home and play video games and do nerdy stuff and, you know, read technology articles and build computers and stuff like that. So before her, I went on a lot of first dates and I think people realized like, oh, I thought this would be different. I'm like, no, I'm just a big nerd. So, and I don't know what her expectation was, but I know for sure, I wouldn't have married her if not. I know for sure it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking for DJ BERN. Like she was interested in getting to know who I was. And when she found that person, when she found out who that was, you know, she fell in love with it. I would say, I'll let her tell you, I guess. But yeah, so she went through the process and, you know, it worked out for now. No.
So is there, do you ever find yourself like having to balance the two or like, because you have this persona, not only in public, but that you've created on social media too, do you find yourself being like, oh wait, like I don't have to do that right now, like at the dinner table or like
I think
or at work?
I think I know when to turn it on and when not to. I mean, obviously when there's music playing, or even out in public when I interact with certain people that I only know through DJing. It's small talk, but we have small talk all the time, work, friends, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I ever confused the two. Sometimes I do have to explain to her. We were just having a conversation about me having to explain myself on social media and how she thinks I don't need to do that. And I'm like, I don't think I should have to, but as a public figure, you gotta, if you don't explain yourself, then whatever the narrative is, people are just going to run with it. So it's just things like that. Well, where I have to explain to her, I'm doing this because, I'm a public facing person and I have to, but I never have to do it with her, or I never have to stop myself and say, this is my wife. This is not just somebody in the club. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, I'm always me, except for the 2 to 4 hours a night on the weekend that I turn it on. So,
yeah. No, I feel that. What about in terms of, I think you've made this shift to use content creation as a tool to, fuel your DJ career. And that, like, DJing in and of itself can take away valuable time from your spouse, your family. Right. Like, for those that don't know, like I used to DJ, I mean, pretty mediocre at best, but a mediocre DJ these days is better than a lot of other
They're
DJs.
Getting by somehow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of mediocre DJs out there, and they're doing it with all the technology in the world. I had a little bit of technology that helped me, but not all this. So, but that's something that, because it wasn't a real passion of mine, I was doing it for the fun, the fame, just the good times, not because I had this like extreme love for music or anything. It was real easy. Like once it got difficult, like once it was people, away on the weekends, all night, not being able to make it to Sunday morning church or this or that, like, it got real difficult, and that was real easy because it wasn't this huge passion. I cut it off. Do you see, like, and so DJing in and of itself takes a lot of time. Right. Your book, some Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes on Thursday, sometimes on Tuesday. Yep. And y'all both work jobs during the day. Right. So all the time away is time away from your spouse. And then on top of that, you're adding in like content creation, which is now you're doing that at home when you're at home. Right. How has all of this been difficult? Like, has it been difficult on your marriage, and in what ways? That's actually a great question. I recall before I got married, I was interested in dating somebody, and they made it a point to say, if we dated, I wouldn't go to all your events. And my response to that was, I wouldn't expect you to. You come out when you want to, and when you don't, I'll see you when I see you. The great thing about my wife is that we have an age gap in between us. So she's 8 years younger than me. So she's still in prime, like, going out time. Yeah. So when we first started dating, she would I DJ, she'd come out with her friends, kick it, and then we'd go home together. And then outside of that, she is not somebody that wants or needs a lot of attention, which has actually sometimes been a problem from my standpoint, because I like quality time and touch, and those aren't her love languages. So it hasn't really been a burden on our marriage because it works out. Mm-hmm. She'll come out
most of the time when I DJ, if she doesn't want to, she'll stay home and watch TV, or she'll go spend time with her mom, and she's okay with that.
Yeah.
To this point, she hasn't expressed to me, oh, we don't spend enough time together. But she has said, hey, let's plan a date. Let's have a date night. Take this day off. But it wasn't like a complaint. It was more of a, hey, let's be intentional about it. Right. And, you know, we balance it out. Usually right after work, she needs time to decompress. So I go home and try to get my content done in between those times. But when I'm not focusing on content, I've also been intentional about not just sitting down playing video games or whatever. Like, let me go sit with her and watch whatever terrible show that I don't want to watch with her is on TV, and just sit there and spend time with her. Because she said that's all she needs is just me sitting there with her for an hour. We're also very adamant about always eating dinner together. Mm-hmm. So sitting down, eating dinner, no distractions. And we use that time to spend together. And then after that, if it's, okay, I'm about to go watch football or play a video game, she's like, fine, I'm going to just watch Netflix. So
what is she watching on Netflix? Or is she watching what? Love Island Australia, all the Love Islands.
Thankfully, she doesn't watch, you know, like the Ratchet TV, the Real Housewives, all that.
I heard there was like a whole Ratchet TV streaming service. That all the young
I've heard that too.
Watching
that's what
days.
Baddies East or whatever comes on. I don't even know the streaming service, and I wouldn't shout it out if I did, because that is ruining our youth. But no, 100%. She doesn't watch Love and Hip Hop or none of that. But she does watch like every version of Mean Girls, like any TV series or movie that's based around like high school drama or college drama or romantic drama. She'll watch those, and I'm like, and she'll watch a lot of horror stuff too. I'm like, this is why you have nightmares. But I will say,
watching horror stuff and then waking up next to somebody on a CPAP is crazy.
I'm waking up next to Bane. No, I did watch To All the Boys I've Loved, all three of those movies. Those are actually pretty good. Probably because the girl was Korean and they went to Korea in it. But yeah, so we spend the time, we make time to spend together, but she understands that this is income for me and that I need to focus a certain time to creating content and DJing, and we always have a balance. And we also talk about, you know, I can either DJ this weekend, we can make money, or we can go out and we can spend money. And it's usually like $1,000 swing. So I'm like, what you want to do? She's like, go make that money. Yeah. So money.
Yeah, that's definitely, there's definitely a balance. For me, I think I'm going through the same stuff right now with the media business and thinking about, you know, I can make money or not. And I'm cool. Like, I went 2 weeks in December. I took 2 weeks off of work in December. And them same 2 weeks, I took off from the business to be intentional about just being home, because it had been so busy every weekend, almost every weekend for the whole year, you know, losing time. And, you know, I think it's important to now there was a threshold, right? You said $1,000 swing. There was a threshold, and my threshold was if anybody call over 600-800, man, I might jump in there real quick. But nobody did, and I turned about 4 of them 250s down, you know. So but it was important, and I think that's the balance that you have to play when you have a job that requires that those non-traditional work hours. It's on y'all to work that out together.
And I think we're also building towards not having that 9 to 5 and being able to make this the full-time thing. And, you know, the flexibility of doing this when we want to do it makes time more available for all other things. And we've also talked about, I don't know if this is coming up, if we're blessed enough to have children in the future, how that's going to look with me working in a nightlife. Is that one of the questions coming up? Okay.
No.
Okay. So, same thing. She's like, be here when I need you to be here, but we also understand that you got to continue your career. So just make sure there's balance. And, you know, all relationships, especially marriage, is based on communication and expectations. So we're talking about that now. Of course, it might change when a child does arrive. Yeah. But it's not going to be, she's obviously not going to be out with me when I'm doing that, but that's not going to stop me from going out. And, you know, I'm not young no more, so I always come straight home. and you know, I can come home and do what I need to do. So
yeah, I think especially with that, one way that I'm starting to look at it is like, even with my full-time job, is everything, giving everything a monetary value, right? So even though staying at home or going out on a date night and spending money, or, you know, taking my kids to their sporting events and being there to watch that, is one thing to be like, to say like, I'm not going to miss it, but what is that worth to me, right? Like not what is it worth to me today even, but what would seeing my son play basketball be worth to me when he's grown? Or, you know, what if he has an amazing basketball career and I get to look back? What if he doesn't? And these are the only times that I get to see, you know, who knows? What is that worth, and what might it be worth? And I kind of, some of those things are priceless, and the priceless things, there's no negotiation. Like, there's never going to be, you know, and it could be to the detriment of my business that, oh, we got a basketball game. Like, I mean, short of a wedding paying me buku money, like, but that's not happening during basketball season.
Right.
So like, I'm not taking the gig, you know, like I'm going to lose maybe clients because of that, but that is worth it. Date night, oh, we could do date night tomorrow, or we could do brunch the next day. Like, those things we can reschedule, but there are certain things, especially, you know, baby stuff is different, but once you hit those ages of like, all right, DJ this graduation party for X amount, or go to this recital. Nah, going to the recital, you know, like.
That's important, because my parents were always adamant about, we can't come to your stuff because we're working, so we can give you a good quality of life. I don't remember them paying the bills as much as I remember that my dad never came to a football game, or if he did, he came to one football game. I played from 7th grade to 12th grade.
Right.
And my mom probably came to 2 or 3. She definitely came to senior night, which I just walked across the field and left because I was suspended.
Still late on the bill sometime.
Yeah, like, still, like, you know, and it's not like I had money for college because of that.
Right.
Like, we weren't on welfare, you know, thankfully, because they worked hard for that. But I feel like if they wanted to, they probably could have made a little bit more effort. And I don't fault them. I don't fault them for that, because, as you know, a lot of parents just be winging it because they don't know what to do. So
it's the first time.
Yeah, so they're probably just winging it and not knowing what to do. But that was definitely a lesson I learned, is that while there be, you know, I played probably over 100 football games in my career, and missing one or missing two might not mean a lot in the moment, but I'm going to remember that who wasn't there.
Yeah,
and it'd have meant a lot more if they were there, or if they, you know, configure things a little bit more to cater to the family as opposed to just finances.
Right. Yep. And I mean, those are really important things. Again, like, our culturally, for how many years in this society, especially here in America, have this traditional like 9 to 5 or like men just work and work and work mindset. But just over the past few years, we've seen such a big shift in the way that we work in this country, working from home, having more flexibility, and people quitting their jobs to pursue creative endeavors or just create their own businesses to have that flexibility. I hate Gary Vee, but I ran across the thing Gary Vee was talking about the other day. He was just like, men can be stay-at-home dads too. Like, if you want to do it, figure it out and do it. There's nothing wrong with that. And so, yeah, I think it's just good to be thinking about that, especially, you know, y'all don't have kids right now, but to be having those thoughts already of like, how are we going to manage this because I'm not giving this up because this is what I want to do full time. But within that, what are the boundaries, you know? So,
yeah.
And then on the note of what things that you have to give up, let's shift a little bit in terms of if you want to go learn about BERN, like I said, BERN's DJ career interviews, it's out there.
Yep.
And several of them. Just recently, I feel like y'all talked a lot about your upbringing in DJing and Orange Soda and all that with the pod you did with Trav Day.
Yep. Shout out to Needle to the Groove. The episode's out right now.
So you can go hear all about that there.
Right.
And something either on that or another one you talked about was just coming up DJing and kind of what that did for you physically. Mm-hmm. Let's get into that a little bit because we talked a little bit about DJing and nightlife and all that, how it's affected your marriage. When you're younger, I would say like, let's do like before LA, post, during LA, after LA.
Right.
So you start DJing, being out, drinking, eating late.
Right.
What did DJing do to your physical health before leading up to your move to LA?
I mean, DJs live an unhealthy lifestyle, even minus illegal hard drugs. There's just a lot of alcohol and food and late night eating and not properly hydrating, not getting enough rest. And that takes a toll on you. So big shout out to Club Onyx, who had amazing wings. But yeah, just being in the club, eating, buffalo wings, drinking Ciroc, eating White Castles afterwards, going right to sleep, waking up sluggish, waking up late in the afternoon, too late to work out. It definitely took a toll on me.
Like you're already, even then, like you're living a college lifestyle already where most people don't care about, like they lose that health. They're real active in high school, playing sports, doing whatever. Not everybody plays sports in college. You lose some of that anyway. And then on top of that, you're eating late, doing what you're talking about. So.
Right. Yeah. So that could definitely take a toll on you physically and mentally. And that was before LA. When I moved to LA, I was DJing less, but just being in a more active area, more active lifestyle out there, better weather. I think in the Midwest, since it's cold, we get comfortable with being bundled up and in the house. So it doesn't stimulate a physical activity like LA does. So I was DJing less. I was able to rein in my health and lose a lot of weight. I was way more active. Came back to Columbus.
So when you say rein in your health and lose a lot of weight, you had I feel like this was the beginning of your social media prowess. Like you were on social media as just another person that was taking social media in, right? Like you were posting, but in LA, what was it that it was just the culture out there that made you like, because what you remember the numbers, because you were what were the numbers, because you started a campaign on social media that was BERN 200.
BERN 200. So before I moved to LA, before I said I was gonna move to LA, I was well over 400 pounds. And then when I said I was moving to LA, I guess my mood changed because I was.
And you weren't, but even then, like when you were in high school, you talk about you played football for.
Oh yeah. So when I was in high school, I started high school at 140 pounds. I graduated from high school at 180. I think it said 190 on the program, but we was definitely lying. I was like 185 with boots on. And so going to college afterwards and being in college, I think by the time I started DJing, which was maybe 5 years after high school, I was probably 250 or something around there. And so from there.
And that's like your college, like you're a little bit overboard.
Yeah,
but
and
not like
just being an adult and growing up in your body maturing as well. So it wasn't crazy. I was still a lot more active. And then when I started DJing from 2007 to 2012, it got well over 400 pounds just from, eating and being lazy. and also being an emotional eater, which is a whole nother story. And so got to LA one day. You know, what happened was when I first got to LA, boom, I had my first gig the next day. Then, you know, shortly after that, doing gigs in Hollywood, doing mansion parties, Chris Brown, Nick Cannon, all of that. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. I don't know why. I really went out there without a plan. So all the stuff I was getting, I was really looking into it, and then it just stopped. And so I was looking back and saying, like, I moved out here to do something and make something of myself. And I don't want to be next 12 months and not have anything to show for it. So I told myself, like, you know, with DJing, people got to book you. People got to like what you do. They got to give you opportunity. Losing weight, because I seen everybody else active. We're on the beach, people with their shirt off. I'm like, if I focus on losing weight, which I need to do because I'll be way more active. If I eat right and work out, there's nobody's going to say, like, no, we're not going to give you this opportunity to lose weight. If you do this, this will happen. Like, it's very simple. So that motivated me. That motivated me to just, I'm going to do something that people back home will be proud of.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like it was yesterday, I started first in 2013 at 380. And by August that same year, I was 240.
Yeah.
So 140 pounds in 6-7 months. And then I started, you know, it got less consistent, but eventually I got down to maybe like 180 pounds lost. I think my lowest was 236. And it was really because I had nothing else to do in LA but go to work and come home.
Yeah.
So I would walk to work. No, first I'd get up, go to the gym, and then come home, eat, walk to work, come home. And between working out and going to work, I was so tired, I would go to bed like 7, 8 p.m. and then wake up at 5 and do it again. And then just keep doing it. And I wasn't DJing. I had nothing else to focus on. So I'm like, I'm just make this a goal every day, make it a weekly goal to be consistent. And because I had no other distractions, because being an emotional eater doesn't mean just negative emotions.
Yeah.
And also positive, like, when you do something good or you get an award or you win a prize or you make some money, it's like, oh, let's go celebrate by eating food. So
right.
I had nothing good or bad to distract me. So I'm just like, I'm going to focus on this and make it my thing. And we'll see where I'm at in 6-7 months. And so, yeah.
So then you move back, or you come back to, I feel like that time you came back, the first time you came back after you lost all that weight, everybody was like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I came back, when I came back to DJ, right?
When you came back to DJ.
Yeah, that was
it Club 120?
Lounge 62.
Lounge 62.
Lounge 62 with them fake Hennessy shots.
Them Hennessy, man.
Nah, that was Paul Masson.
Paul
It
Masson,
definitely wasn't
E&J.
no dollar Hennessy. But yeah, when I came back, at this point, I hadn't even really adjusted to my body. So my clothes was all baggy because I was buying smaller clothes, but it didn't fit right because, when you're bigger, you just used to getting big clothes. So it's not like, rising up or anything. So yeah, it was crazy. I feel like people did, because there's some people that only met me like now. There's people that only met me at this weight. They didn't know what I used to look like. So they were really shocked. Like, wow, you look like a completely different person. So
when you got down to that weight, did you assume like, oh, we're good? Like, did you in your mind think that you were going to gain weight back, or you just, I did it, I'm here, it ain't coming back?
So I guess, once again, for a long time, I never thought long-term by anything. It was just, whatever the goal was for the week or the month, especially DJing, is just like, let's get to the weekend and figure out what we're doing and start over. So I never really thought if it was going to come back or if I needed to go any further. At one point it was BERN 200. So I was trying to lose 200 pounds. So I was trying to get to 180, and I just hit a wall eventually. And when I came home because I had a failed relationship. So, and I had a part-time job. I was living in my mom's basement, and that kind of put me back into a little bit of depression that I just started working out less and eating more. And so I gained a little bit of the weight back, but then I got right back focused and got that same weight off. And that's when I went back to Columbus State and get that degree. So yeah, I mean, I never thought it was over. Like, you know, your health is a lifetime thing.
Right.
As far as like being on the journey and all that. And 200 pounds was always the goal. So I never really got there, but I guess I never really thought about if it was going to come back or not, you know?
Yeah. So in terms of where you're at now, do you still, is DJing and the nightlife, do you attribute a lot of the fluctuation with weight? Do you attribute it more to that, or just more to your, like you said, depression, relationships, or a combination of like all of it?
Now it's definitely not DJing, because I don't really drink when I go out. I turn down drinks all the time, or I just drink water. I've recently, in the past 12 months, made it a habit to not eat afterwards. So, and then I was go to bed and eat in the morning. So now it's really just finding a good routine.
Yeah.
And then staying focused. Of course, like, life is still stressful, and, you know, just different things you're working on. And so those still cause me to stress to eat every once in a while, but it's definitely not DJing. DJing is just a tool to get, you know, as far as it's the other things I'm trying to accomplish that stress me out,
right,
that get me off my square. But shout out to my wife. I feel like a lot of men don't take their health seriously. They don't go to the doctor as much as they should. My wife made me. Once I met her, she's like, when the last time you been to the doctor? You might have diabetes. You know, you need to go get checked out. And for the longest, I'm like, you know, whatever. I'll deal with it. You know how men are. And because of that, I went to the doctor. I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes last year. I also finally got a CPAP machine because I actually went to a sleep doctor and, you know, got that taken care of.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm sleeping better. And that's really like, you know, all this stuff, all these health issues just pile up and it make it harder to work out.
Yep.
So now that I'm sleeping better, now that my blood sugar is in the range where it needs to be, I can be more active. Like when I was in LA, I was waking up at 5 a.m. off, like once I was in a groove and also that way, I was waking up at 5 a.m. off 6 hours of sleep and go run 3 miles and then go to work and then come home and run as well. And it's because I actually slept well. But these past couple of years before I went to the doctor, I would sleep 8 hours and still wake up tired because of sleep apnea, because my blood sugar being so high. I sweat a lot during my sleep because of the blood sugar. And now that I've actually got the right medication and diagnosis, I'm sleeping better, which makes me more active in the morning. It's still hard to work out.
Yeah.
Like, I used to go run on a treadmill all the time, and I can't do that now, but I can at least go work out consistently enough to make a difference and have enough energy to prepare the right foods so that I'm prepared, so I don't just go eat fast food or whatever.
Yeah. So when you think about a lot of people, when they're on, you know, so many of us, we struggle with weight in different ways, right? And a lot of people are always looking to someone else. And even when you were doing BERN 200, I'm sure you had a lot of people that were looking to you to be like, you know, thank you for doing this. Or, you know, people looked up to you, not just were proud of you for doing it, but it also encouraged them.
Right.
So 2 things. Is there anything that you remember during that time that somebody like said or that, you know, spoke to you about that influence that you were having? And then 2, like now that, you know, you're again working to lose weight, and are you looking to someone else, or do you now look to yourself to know that I already did this? Like, what is that motivating at all, or is it not?
Okay. So to the first question, There's two people specifically. I'm sorry, I don't remember the first person's name, but I was definitely in the club at like 2016, 2017. This guy came to me. You know, it might not have been in the club. I think it was outside the club. Because when he came to me, he's like, "BERN, you DJ BERN, right?" You know, I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, of course you. Yeah, I know you know me, whatever. What club you see me at? That's what I was thinking. He was like, "Nah, I saw your story online. It was inspiring, man. I actually lost 50 pounds because I saw your story. And so now I'm in better shape. I feel better. I just want to thank you for that." Somebody wrote a story on me. I forgot who it was, and they got aggregated. It ended up on Fox News on their website. You can still probably go see it right now. It's also a YouTube video. You want to go look at it. So I get, you know, that was really crazy that somebody was inspired. You know, people see you doing something, they say, "Oh man, you inspired me to do that too." They don't never follow through.
Yeah. I mean, this was before like influencer media.
This was before social media was a thing like that. People was on Instagram just, you know, taking pictures of food and
like Burn 200 was like a blog.
Yeah, so this is way before, you know, Instagram or social media. I don't even think the word influencer was a word at all.
Yeah.
The second person, shout out to Will Pounder. I told myself before I got married, because it was always my plan to go get married in Jamaica. Shout out to my wife for agreeing to that. I said, I want to make sure I'm on that beach at a certain weight. So let's start working out right now. He was like, "You know what? I'm going to do that with you, bro." And I didn't do it, but he had to lose like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Like he was chubby, fluffy. And now he boxed, like he had an 8-pack. Like he went from, that's the first person I've seen in real life go from a full fat belly to an 8-pack. I'm like, oh, it's possible. Like no surgery.
Right.
So shout out to him, because he said, the whole reason I started doing this because you said we was gonna do it together. And I'd be looking at him like, damn, I should have did it.
You should have kept with it.
I should have kept with it because he did it. So big shout out to him. So those are two people. He still
be in the club drinking.
I don't know. I know how he did it. It's really just about just making the right choices. But yeah, shout out to him. To your second question, what motivates me now is, I will say, I like what you said before about what's motivating me, because before it was all external. You know, it's external gratification. Like, I'm gonna do something to prove something to somebody else. Yeah. Or if I want to get married, I gotta make sure I'm in the best shape so I can look good for somebody else. And now it's similar, but I need to get my health together so that I'm alive to have children. And when I do have children, I'm healthy enough to play with them, because I owe that to my wife to be alive for as long as possible. And secondly is just, I'm just tired of being like this. I think about all the stuff I've done. I did over 100 gigs last year in 2023. And I just think about how much more I would have got accomplished if I was at the appropriate weight. Like if I was just 100 pounds less, because there's so many times I do a gig and the next day I'm spent, I'm exhausted. I went to LA. I was between LA and Vegas, and I was driving back and forth for different things. And I didn't go back to LA on Sunday because I was tired just from being worn out. And I'm sure I'd have been less tired if my health was in order. Yeah. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity. So I'm thinking about all the things that I could do career wise if my health was in the order it needs to be. But the main thing is that I want to be alive for my children and for my wife. So that's why I got to get it together.
Right. Well, again, like I think, for me, I look back, there was a point that I dropped 30.
I feel like both of y'all, you and Tanisha, when I was doing that, you started running. Remember we did that 5K?
We did the 5K together.
Yeah.
That was all during that time. I was able to drop 30 and, I kept that off for a long time. And then I was between like 190, 200. And I mean, my goal is like 175, but I was in that range for so long. And then it was just like normal. Like I can do whatever and stay in this range. And then all of a sudden I went to the doctor last year and she was like, 209, you're up. I'm like, and I ate good this week. So that probably is like 212, 215.
Right.
So looking back, I think it's one thing. I know I did it before, which means I can do it again. But I wake up every morning and I tell myself I'm going to have a good day. And then I'm at work and there's all these Sour Patch Kids and chips and this and that.
Because you got a big sweet tooth.
I don't have a big sweet tooth.
Oh, you used to.
I used to. Yeah. I mean, if it's great, I'm not turning down graders. You know?
Right.
I have an 11-year-old, a 7-year-old, and they love ice cream. Yeah. I mean, you know, I gotta take them.
Yeah.
You know, I can't not.
Right.
So it's really like that mental state when you think about, you know, right now what you're doing, with your goals to lose weight now, and even when you did it before, beyond the working out, what was the mental? How did you stick with? How did you and do you have that mental fortitude to just do right? Because when you are, you know, at a certain weight or struggling or whatever, like, you know, a regular person, they can eat a Snickers they can have a bad day and eat 12 pieces of pizza. Like, but that bad day could just that could turn into a bad month for me.
So a couple of things with what you just said. The fact that I did it before so I could do it again does not apply to me.
Doesn't apply.
And I think it was because it was the excitement of doing something for the first time and seeing where I can go. And knowing like just the wonder of like how much weight did I lose this week? How much weight I'm gonna lose the next week? And that whole excitement, I don't have it anymore because I already did it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I gotta do this again. I probably should have stuck with it the first time. Doing it once doesn't mean it can be done again easily. It's actually harder. I think what you're trying to ask me is how do I make the right decisions throughout the day and how I stick to it?
Or just in general for asking you how you do it now and or how you did it then to give me or someone else advice. Because when I was standing in a line at Kroger's today picking up dinner, it's like, I mean, I only had this little bit of noodles today. Snickers does have protein in it.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Let me just grab this Snickers real quick because I ain't going to eat for another 3 hours. I didn't. Only because the lady was pressing me about these apples that I had to buy separately.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of threw me off.
Right.
Shout out to her.
So I tell my wife this all the time. There are two things that help me stay on track and make the right decisions. The first one doesn't apply to her or you. In my old age, my body is rejecting everything that I used to love. So, and this medicine I'm on, shout out to Ozempic. Was giving me raging diarrhea. Clipped it up for Twitter. So let me tell you all the stuff I can't eat anymore. Ice cream, dairy in general, fried foods. So fried foods includes like fast food and like potato chips.
Yeah.
Even like, not even fast food, like at my job in the cafeteria, I have like French fries. I can't do that because any of this stuff is it makes my stomach feel sour. It's to the point where I'll look at fast food and be like, oh, I can't even look at it no more. Yeah. On top of that, Marlon told me that he hasn't ate pork or beef in 10 years. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, oh, I can do that. So I don't eat pork or beef anymore since December. I haven't been a long time, but yeah. So, and you know, once you stop eating pork, you cannot go back. The day you go back, like you're going to be down for like 2 days. And you know, so I can't even eat it on accident anymore. So I'm eating just chicken and fish and carbs in general. Like I
feel like you used to kill some pork rinds.
Oh, so I used to. That used to be my go-to because it was, you know, no carb,
right, and
high protein, well, decent protein. But now I can't even do that. I can't eat beef jerky, so I can't even snack right no more.
Right.
So, and on top of that, I'm taking my blood sugar every day, and this is the thing about going to the doctor. You go to the doctor, then you go again, your numbers get better, and then you go again, the numbers don't get better. You can't cheat those numbers. She gonna know whether you're eating right or not.
Right.
And you can't blame it on the medicine. So the first time I went to the doctor, my A1C was, if you guys didn't know, it's supposed to be under like 7%. Mine was at like 15, and my blood glucose was like 390. So it went down. Next time I went, the A1C went up a little bit, and I was like, "Yep." See, I tried to between those 3 months, I tried to eat right the week before I had to go see her. You can tell by the numbers. So all that, every time I look at a candy bar, I'm like, my blood sugar about to go crazy. I can't even do it. So that, but something that would apply to everybody, and something that I tell her, and something I think I heard in a Nike commercial, is that life is about the multiple daily decisions between the easy way and the right way. So every time you look at candy or whatever fast food, you can be like, yeah, I can just eat that. It won't hurt a little bit. But what happens if I don't? Am I really going to? I actually heard this recently. My coworker lost like 80 pounds in a year, and he's kept it off, and he's very adamant about, well, like the job got free Jimmy John's, and he not eat nothing because he like, nah, it's not part of my diet. I can't do it. And he told me, like, you got to remind yourself, in the moment you really want a Snickers, as soon as you eat it, you can be like, man, I probably shouldn't eat that.
Right.
And then time will pass and you want another one. But if you don't eat it in that moment, an hour later, or if you go to bed when you wake up, you're not going to think about like, man, I really missed out on that Snickers.
Right.
Like, and then so the feeling you had in the moment of craving is gone, and you can feel better about it because, like, I was strong enough to make the right decision there. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we owe ourselves discipline as adults. That's the most valuable thing that's free. That's a bar. Clip that. The most valuable thing you can have that's free is discipline. So why not make the right choice? The same reason why you don't steal from people. It's like, I could probably get away with this, but is this the right thing to do? Right. No. And you cheating your body when you eat stuff that you know is not good for you, but it's just a little bit of pleasure that you want in the moment. So you don't have to be 100% strict, but I also tell my wife, on the weekends, you can cheat a little bit if you don't cheat all week. Like, right. If you be so strict so that if you do slip, it's okay. But if you slip every day, now you completely slipped. And now you got to start over again. So it's just going back to what I said, taking the time to make the decision between the easy choice and the right choice. Boom.
Yeah, them is definitely bars. Well, yeah, I think that the goal, like, we've been talking about a few episodes into Route 104. The goal here is Route 104 was a connection to everybody in my life for me. So my goal here is to use this platform to connect others, not just with what they're doing business wise or personally, but also, with what's going on in somebody's life. And I feel like you have a bunch of stuff, a bunch of stories, and a bunch of stuff that connect with others on. So hopefully, there's a lot of gems in there that people can pick out, whether that be from your DJing and relating that to your marriage, or your weight loss and weight gain and weight loss, and, your outlook on that. And, I just, even with that, I commend you and anybody who has, who's going through and really committing to that, to be strict and do all that. 'Cause I know I need to. And, the more people that we can have those conversations with, the better. And yeah, man, I appreciate you for, the entertainment that you provide, the friendship that you provide, Absolutely. Not just for me, but for a lot of different people. So, you can again find DJ BERN.
Before we wrap.
Yeah.
I do want to share with y'all that since I got my diagnosis, I lost 35 pounds.
Hey.
And we on track to keep it going. And if you don't take anything else from this, take this gem that 6 months from now, you could either be in the exact same place you are right now with what you want to do, or you can be progressing. And it's really up to you. I don't want to be, this March will be 11 years since the first time I started losing weight. And every year I think about like, man, I'm not where I need to be. And this year's gonna be different. So, like I say, you owe it to yourself to be disciplined and make the right decisions. And just imagine where you'll be in DJing, photography, rapping, playing the piano, whatever, if you took the time out to focus on it for 6 months. Life is very long, and 6 months to 12 months of you being strict about something is not going to kill you, because you spent X amount of years up until this point doing whatever you want. So it takes time to get back to where you need to go, but you're going to thank yourself for doing it. So like I said, whether you're DJing or whether you're trying to lose weight or whatever you're trying to work on, you owe yourself the discipline to get it done. And also for the stress eaters out there, don't compact your problems by making more problems. If you're going through something and you're having a bad day, you know it's going to make you feel worse when you break your diet. Because tomorrow, that same problem is either going to be there or not, but something you could have did about it, you chose to make the wrong decision. And so now there's two problems instead of one. So maybe it'll help you to think like, all this stuff's not really going right for me. In time, this will pass. But in the meantime, I'm going to focus on what I can focus on, and that's my health. And so that's what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, all that stuff really don't matter. It's about me being alive for my wife and living as long as we can. So please, discipline.
The keys, and you can find the key to finding DJ BERN is every weekend. Look on, he'll let you know on Instagram at
DJ BERN_. You can just go to DJBERN.com, or you can just Google me. But DJBERN.com, that's the center for everything. Big shout out to anybody that's ever spent their time or money to watch me DJ or to be in the same room as me. I'm grateful. It doesn't go unnoticed. I appreciate it. Whether it's one person or 1,000, I just want to give people a good time. I actually did a party recently, a brunch, and there was literally 3 people in there for 4 hours. And it was somebody's birthday, and they had the best time. And they said it was like a personal party. And so I was grateful to be able to do that for them. So I appreciate anybody that likes what I do. And I appreciate anybody that takes anything from this. If you sat here through this hour to watch this, salute to you.
DJ all the things. I got him. I'm gonna get the board and a producer.
So I'm gonna come back in 6 months, and I'm gonna be this much of the camera, and then we're gonna talk about all the stuff that I said I was gonna do that I accomplished. Shout out to everybody that went to the gym today and did those hip abductions or whatever. Yeah.
Peace.